Well, welcome everybody to another episode of 100 Yards of Football, along with Vincent Turner, along with our producer Logan Landers. I'm Harper LeBel. What an interesting week we had last week. A lot of great games, but let's look at week number 5 by looking back at week number 4. Vincent, the Atlanta Falcons end up squeaking away a victory against the nemesis New Orleans, the Saints. They come into town and the Hoodats with all of that. They score with under 2 minutes left to go in the ball game, and the Falcons find a way to win with the 58-yard field goal.
And you got to give credit to the Dirty Bird Nation. They won their rivalry game against the New Orleans Saints. What I take from that game, Troy Anderson, who's not going to play tonight, player of the game. What kind of game did he have last night? 13 tackles, had a pick six return for a touchdown. And then a lot of people are saying Mr. Cool is the best kicker in the National Football League. And he proved it last week. Pressure bust pipes, 58-yarder. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, it wasn't the prettiest win. And they said there are no ugly wins. That was pretty ugly, though. Falcons didn't score a point on offense, and they needed a field goal. I don't know. There's some things that are still being worked out, but I'm still looking forward to a great season. I don't think they have it yet. It's got to work. It's got to start showing progress. It's got to be smoother, and that's on the way. But we're now 4 weeks into it. And here's another thing, Falcon fans. You've played on Monday night, Sunday night. You've played a regular 1 o'clock game. You've got a Thursday night game now. When you start winning, you're going to have a schedule that's all over the place. So look forward to that being a part of the Falcons in the near future, especially if their record indicates it. The networks will want to see you. And they've made an effort this year to say, hey, let's see what the Falcons do. If they prove us right, then we're previewing a very good football team that might end up in the playoffs. All right, but anyways, this week, as you mentioned, Vincent, the Falcons will be playing here on Thursday night, and we will not feature that game, but we will go east of the Atlantic, over in Tottenham Stadium in London, England. We've got the New York Giants taking on the Minnesota Vikings. Vincent, your thought about going overseas to play in London?
I'm going to start with the New York Jets and Harper. Did Aaron Rodgers look old last week? Be honest. Did he look slow last week?
He looked slow.
The Jets might be in, I want to say, some serious problems. There might be some jobs, such as head coach Robert Saleh. He might not be the coach at the end of the year with the New York Jets. Now to the Vikings. We know what type of player Justin Jefferson was coming into the season. We know that them picking up Aaron Jones from Green Bay was going to be a quality pickup. But I got to be honest. If I had to say a guy right now that might need MVP votes, the man from, where you from, out there in Southern California, by way of the USC Trojans, Mr. Sam Darnold, is played lights out. Kudos to Vikings Nation, and I'm taking the Minnesota Vikings big in this football game.
Well, we lost Mercury Morris a couple of weeks ago, and Mercury would be having the champagne on ice. He's going to have to wait a little while because the Minnesota Vikings are surprising everybody except themselves. They're 4-0. You mentioned Sam Darnold. They played at Green Bay, Houston, San Francisco at home, and then they opened the season against the Giants, and they've just been very impressive. They're number 4 in the league right now at scoring, just under 30 points a game. They're at 29, and they're only giving up 14 points. That's one of the things that nobody's talking about is how much better the Vikings defense is playing. They're top 5, at least against scoring right now, and that, I think, will be an impressive obstacle that Aaron Rodgers is going to have to overcome. Anybody would look slow when you're not getting pass protection. So the line, the problems with the snap count, all the other things, those should have been worked out the first couple of days in training camp. And the Jets are showing that they've still got some problems that need to be ironed out before they start winning on a consistent basis. Aaron is five touchdowns, 1 interception. Those are pretty good numbers. He's completed 64% of his passes. That's a pretty good number for Aaron as well. He just needs some help around it. Cleveland Browns end up going to Washington. This is our first time, Vincent, talking about the Commanders. Remember, they picked number 2 overall. They were not a very good football team. But, boy, what a difference a quarterback and a little bit of time makes. Cleveland is 1-3, and they're going into Washington against a 3-1 Commanders team.
Everybody right now is excited about Jaden Daniels. I understand the guy even shocked me last week in how he played against Arizona. Really outplayed Kyler Murray. The Commanders averaged, 6 yards a play, had over 450 yards total offense, and them putting up 42 points and winning the game 42-14. I got to be honest. I'm very shocked and very kind of surprised how Jaden Daniels has played. Week before, he played lights out against Cincinnati, and I played Joe Burrow. But it's something about the National Football League, Harpo, that you can really understand this, and you've been a great player in that league. Right now, teams make adjustments. So Mr. Daniels, he's doing an outstanding job. Y'all 3-1, but it's still a long season. Now, on the other hand, the Cleveland Browns. You know we have a lot of love for Deshaun Watson. And last week, the Browns should have really won that football game. They had a 75-yard touchdown taken away from them, a Deshaun Watson touchdown pass to Amari Cooper on the holding call. I really think Deshaun Watson is going to come in his own, and I think he's going to play better football. So everyone is sitting up here saying that Jaden Daniels and the Commanders are playoff bound and maybe Super Bowl quality. You better hold your brakes a little bit. Because the Cleveland Browns, last time I checked, they still have a pretty good football team. And Harper, you saw Deshaun Watson play in high school, so you know he can bounce back from adversity. Back to you, sir.
Yeah, he's a quality quarterback, and I think every quarterback that has a little bit of fight in him will want to come back and rebound from whatever your previous performance was. And I think Deshaun has a little bit of work to do in terms of that. He's got 4 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, and it's still early in the season. He's completing only 61% of his passes. I think that's a number that's a little bit low for him right now. So, again, a little bit extra work, some time with the guys, either before, during, or after practice, and you'll get it right, or at least get it much better than where it is right now. But Cleveland does need to turn it around. They're 26 in the league in scoring. They're only averaging 16 points a game. They're giving up 21, and that's in the middle of the pack too. That's 17th. But you mentioned Jaden Daniels. He made a throw. Ball was on the left hash. He's rolling out to his right. Once he gets to where the right hash is, he's about 8 yards behind the line of scrimmage. His shoulders are squared up, and he throws a bullet 15 yards down the field to the sideline and hits his wide receiver in stride. That's something, when I saw him last year at LSU, I watched him warm up. I watched him during the game. I watched him when he came off the field. I saw him do things that a lot of quarterbacks want to do, but maybe don't do quite as well as what he did. I think he was mastering all the little things, and all of this fits right now. Will defenses make changes and adjustments like you mentioned, Vincent? Absolutely, but they're going to have to. I think he's for real. A star is born. If you can protect him and keep him free from injury, I think he is leaps and bounds ahead of where any other quarterback as a rookie would be after just 4 weeks. I'm very excited about Jaden Daniels. I believe in him, and I think he's a wonderful quarterback, and I think Washington is very lucky to get him. Let's look at our next game, which is Buffalo heading out to Houston, 2 playoff teams. Vincent, your thought about everything that's going to be going down there in Texas?
I'm going to start with the Houston Texans. C.J. Stroud threw for 345 yards last week. But we talk about all these great receivers right now that's in the game, from Justin Jefferson to Jamar Chase to Drake London here in Atlanta. But we tend to forget about, they got one down in Houston, and I'm not talking about Stephon Diggs. Nico Collins.
Yep.
Go Blue. Mike Ken, the Michigan Wolverines. Last week, 12 receptions, 151 yards. He got 489 yards receiving, 2 touchdowns on the year. But remember this. Remember, people were having a serious problem in Houston. Why are we paying him all this money? Why are we signing him? Nico Collins is the man. We talking about C.J. Stroud, but we better start talking about Nico Collins in the same realm as a Devontae Adams. Now to the Buffalo Bills. I'm going to keep it very plain and simple. It's all about Josh Allen. How well he's played in the Buffalo's defense. Didn't like what happened last week. I didn't see him getting steamrolled by the Baltimore Ravens and Derrick Henry putting 199 yards on him. That's all I got to say, Harper. Back to you.
Well, Josh has 7 touchdowns, no interceptions. They're number 2 in the league right now. They're averaging 30 points a ball game. And you're saying, how on earth did they lose that ball game? But it's okay. There you go. A long way to go. Years ago, when I played with Daryl Talley, Spider-Man, from Buffalo. When he came from West Virginia, He joined the Falcons near the end of his career. And he isn't the first to ever say it, but he's the first person that put it this way. He goes, listen, our goal when we were in Buffalo, and there were only 16 games back then, so understand what he's saying. He cut the season into four-game quadrants. We go 3-1, 3-1, 3-1, and then 3-1 again. There's your 16 games. We'll be 12-4. We're going to win our division. We're going to get a first-round bye, and we're going to get home field advantage. We'll have one of the best records in the league. It was so simple, but that's the way that they did stuff. And especially Buffalo in December and January during playoff time, it is a tough place to play. You want to be at home and take advantage of whatever cold, whatever snow, whatever sleet, whatever wind that you can take advantage of by playing in your field, in your environment, as opposed to going on the road. So that's obviously on the back of their mind. 3-1 is a pretty good start for the Buffalo Bills. In terms of Nico, man, what an amazing pickup. He's second in the league right now with receptions. He's got 30. He's first with yardage. That to me is really important. He's averaging 16.3 yards per catch. He's got 2 touchdowns. That number is going to change. But you talk about having to double team that guy, that should open up your tight end and back and your other receiver. But Nico has made a huge difference. I'm glad you pointed that out, Vincent. All right, our next game is going to be the Raiders. I still can't say it. The Las Vegas Raiders just doesn't sound right. The not-so-Oakland Raiders are going to be going to Denver. What a difference a couple of weeks makes for the Broncos. Nobody knew what to expect, but Bo Nix is having a really nice year. Vincent, your thought about this one?
This is a game that I looked on the schedule, and I thought about hard yesterday. Tremendous tradition over the years, the Raiders playing the Broncos, but I'm going to start with the Raiders. Got a lot of personal fans that are Raider fans, and I'm going to say this. What is going on in Las Vegas? Well, Devontae Adams wants out now. And then this morning I get up and Max Crosby wants out. And then I look at last week. They very got lucky when that game against Cleveland. God Minshew has been up and down as a quarterback, and their best player has been their rookie tight end, Brock Bowers. And I'm saying to myself, the Raiders are starting to come unglued. And think about their organization. They had John Gruden. They've had Josh McDaniels. Now they wanted Antonio Pierce, and we thought that they were going to, move among what I call outside interference. But now your 2 best players went out of Las Vegas. And I'm going to start with Denver. Bo Nix is played well enough for the Broncos to win, but seriously, Harper, he had 60 yards passing last week, and they did win the football game. And you know yourself, Harper. Come on, man. You have played at a high level. So you like Bo Nix. And I understand because Bo Nix is an underdog. He was an underdog at Auburn. He went to Oregon. He proved everybody wrong, the Heisman Trophy. But the Broncos, they got a good football team. But offensively, for them to be in the Rams, and we talking about quality teams, they got to be playing more better. But they won. That's the key. It doesn't matter how you win in the National Football League, in my opinion, but they won. I like Alex Singleton, one of the best linebackers in the game, got 31 tackles on the year. But this is an interesting football game to me. You got the Raiders coming in with all these problems, and Antonio Pierce supposed to be the man. Then you got Denver under Sean Payton. You got Bo Nix. And this is a game that I don't know which way it's going to go, but I'm going to lean to the Broncos because I'm like you, Harper. I like Bo Nix. Dad was outstanding quarterback on the outstanding Auburn team that went undefeated in '93. Patrick, former offensive coordinator at Georgia Tech. His dad, and Bo Nix' granddad, Conrad Nix, outstanding football coach at Warren Robins. So I'm going with the Nix family and the Broncos beating the Raiders.
I'm not sure if Denver has had a guy that they can rely on as a quarterback since Peyton left years ago and they won that Super Bowl. They've really struggled in a number of different areas. And Elway has made some decisions that haven't worked out. Let's be candid. It just hasn't. You mentioned the numbers, 60% completion for Bo, 660 yards after 4 games, 1 touchdown, 4 interceptions. That's not impressive. But they can run the ball. They're better at running than passing. The thing that makes the Broncos competitive right now is their defense. They're the number 3 defense, scoring defense in the league right now. They're averaging about 13 points a ball game. So if they get a win here, if they can keep the Raiders out of the end zone, and the Raiders, as you said, seem to be imploding, and guys are saying too early in the year that I want out of here. That bothers me, because there's something that is taking place in the locker room and in the meeting rooms that they're not addressing, because they should all be on the same page, and they're not. So
can I ask a question?
Please do.
Could it be that, okay, you got Devontae Adams. They paid a lot of money to bring him over there from Green Bay. You got Max Crosby. I don't know if they paid him or not. But could it be they got a little problem with Brock Bowers getting all the kind of pub right now? Because Brock Bowers been the best player on their team this season. There's no question about it. I'm just asking. I'm not trying to start nothing here on 100 yards. I'm just asking your opinion.
Yeah. Well, neither of us know, because we're not in the locker room, and nobody else does either. I mean, if you're the beat writer, you still don't get all of the access to what's going on with the Raiders. I'm just saying it sounds a little bit like there's stuff that we don't know about that has been scratching at somebody, and they're trying to itch it now instead of taking care of it in the offseason. Money is always an issue for some guys, so that could be a part of it. I don't understand, though, Vincent, to answer your question directly, how a rookie getting 20 receptions, averaging a little bit more than 10 yards a carry, how that could be a problem for you. Wouldn't you want your rookie to come in and play? So I'm not disagreeing with it. I'm just saying maybe some of the other guys need to step up and get open, because Garner will throw the ball to somebody if they're open, and if they're not, I got to dump it off to my tight end.
Hello?
They're struggling in all kinds of different areas. They only get 19 points a game, which is below average. They're only averaging 76 yards on the ground. That's where my problem is their offensive line and the running backs. They're not finding any holes. They're 31st in the league with that 76 number. There's only one team in the league that runs the ball less efficiently than the Raiders do. So they've got a lot of things to fix, and hopefully they'll get a few of them taken care of. I'm just not sure if they'll do it against a very good defensive team with the Denver Broncos. All right, our last game, at least the one that we're going to feature here, is a Monday nighter. The New Orleans Saints, 2-2 after that loss against the Falcons. They end up going to Kansas City, and it doesn't seem like anybody is going to be able to stop either Mahomes or the offense in Kansas City. Unbelievable. They're on. I don't know. I don't know what they're not hitting it anywhere close to 100%. I think the only problem they have right now is injuries and getting healthy guys to stay out on the field. Vincent, your thoughts about Kansas City hosting the New Orleans Saints?
There's a thing that I always say about greatness. And when you look at the Kansas City Chiefs, it's always about greatness with them, especially now because they're on a hell of a run right now in the National Football League. I go back and I look at this team and I think about that team that won it in 1970 Super Bowl IV. They had Lenny Dawson that didn't get no respect, but they had an athletic receiver in Otis Taylor. They had a defense in Louis Lanier, had a defense with Bobby Bell, Buck Buchanan. But you look at this team, you look what the Chiefs are doing. You just brought up a good point, Harper. They got injuries everywhere, but they seem to come, and always when the money is on the line, they need to make a play, they make a play. Patrick Mahomes, I'm very, very careful when I say these words. He's got 3 Super Bowls, right? We just had a gentleman that retired that we consider the GOAT that has 7. But I'm going to tell you something about that young man that he's kind of ascending into that conversation of the GOAT. Last week, he was only 19 or 29 for 245 yards. But he found the way to wheel his team. And I'm going to tell all you people out there that's been killing Travis Kelce on social media, this young man, even though him and his brother are ascending as faces at TV and on the football field, look what Travis Kelce did in that football game last week. 7 receptions for 89 yards. I hear crickets right now on social media about his play. Then you think about Andy Reid. Couldn't be happier for any coach in the league, because remember when he couldn't win the big one in Philly, everybody was saying overrated, can't coach, I don't need him.
Yep.
But see, that's how God works things out. We're not saying it about Andy Reid no more. But what I'm very more impressed is their defense under Steve Spagnuolo. The Chiefs are a very balanced football team. And like you said, Harper, they're not even winning at full strength. I hate to see when they get Hollywood Brown back at full strength
Mm-hmm.
and they get everybody healthy, how dangerous they're going to be.
Yep.
Now to the New Orleans Saints. I got a lot of friends that's from the state of Louisiana. And boy, after the first 2 weeks, I couldn't even stop answering my phone. But they scored 91 points, 92 points in the first 2 games.
Yep.
A lot of people was telling me that it was the greatest offense since the greatest show on turf. Derek Carr, MVP, Alvin Kamara, MVP talks. That defense led by Carl Granderson and Willie Gay coming over from the Chiefs at the linebacker position, and Alante Taylor, the outstanding nickelback. Oh, I couldn't hear it. But as I told some of my Saints fans and friends, it's only 2 games, and everything in the NFL can flip in a week.
Yes, it can.
So now you Saints, y'all 2-2. You lost a very tough game against the Eagles. Y'all lost a very tough game last week against your rivals, the Atlanta Falcons. You're going into Kansas City. Y'all can easily be 2-3. And after Monday night, I like to say this. I like to hear who that nation is going to be saying after y'all might be 2-3. Don't get me wrong. Alvin Kamara is playing outstanding. Had 77 yards last week against the Falcons. The Saints defense is playing at another level. Cam Jordan is still one of the better defensive players in this league. Chase Young has done an outstanding job coming over from San Francisco. But as I tell people every week, the National Football League is the greatest league in pro sports because every week you cannot rest and say, hey, I'm a Super Bowl contender one week because you got another team that's coming at you that might be better than you the following week. That's what happens when you start talking a lot of smack, as the New Orleans Saints fans have been talking. Very important football game for you Saints because Kansas City is undefeated. And then you know what? New Orleans, you lose this game, you be 2-3. Back to you, Harper.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a really good game. You mentioned a lot of interesting portions of it from the Saints side. They're number 1 in scoring. They're number 7 in rushing the ball. They average 147 yards. The Falcons couldn't stop them. It was second and less than 5 on almost every single possession that the Saints had. Possession after possession, first down after first down. Derek Carr is completing 72% of his passes. He has 824 yards, 6 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. I know that 3 is a problem for some folks, but who would want it? I mean, those are Drew Brees numbers. You should be ecstatic about that. Alvin Kamara averaging 4.5 yards a carry. He's got 5 touchdowns. Chris Olave, 20 receptions. That's the same as Brock Bowers. We talked about that just a little bit ago. He's got 13.3. He's got a touchdown. Offensively, they're as good as anybody right now. They're averaging 31 points, like I said, and their defense, they're 6th in the country right now, or in the NFL, with averaging only 17 points a game that they give up. But they're going against a team that knows how to win when they need to win. They know how to turn it on when they have to turn it on. They know how to get the points when it's late in the fourth quarter and we need to get another first down. And I think it's just going to be a great ball game. You mentioned the health of Kansas City. Rashid Rice is out. So who's going to be the replacement? Is it Xavier Worthy? He has 9 receptions. He's the rookie that they brought in, the speedster. Juju Smith-Schuster, he's got 2 catches on the year, so it may not be him. Travis Kelce has 15, and you mentioned he had 7 of them this past week against San Diego. Noah Gray, the other tight end, he has 8 receptions. I think Mahomes is going to be able to dink and dunk and be able to move the sticks and get not only first downs, but good field goal possession yardage, and then also get in the end zone. Their red zone is spectacular. It always has been. Should be a really good game, and that's why we put it here on our preview list. Vincent, your final thoughts going into week number 5 here in the National Football League.
I like what the Minnesota Vikings are doing. I think they're the surprise team in the National Football League. I'm very happy for Sam Darnold and the family of USC. Finally, the Kansas City Chiefs. It's something about greatness that we need to stand up and watching. Patrick Mahomes is in that level that no matter what Kansas City does, they're going to find a way to win football games. Very happy for Coach Andy Reid. It's just amazing a couple of years ago when he was coaching with the Philadelphia Eagles, how much slack, how much slander was coming out of Philly. Well, you know what, Eagle fans? How you feel about Andy Reid now based on the fact y'all got problems down there in Philly with Nick Sirianni? That's my final words today here on 100 Yards Football. And yes, I'm throwing shots.
A little bit. It's okay. You can do that every now and then. Well, here locally, we like to talk locally, and then the Falcons, they're going to be hosting Tampa Bay. A win there puts them at 3-2 and in the driver's seat in terms of where they would want to be after their first 5 games of the year. Yes, I know they would want to be 4-1 or 5-0, but realistically, 3-2 is a pretty good place to be, especially when you've got a new coach, a new offensive coordinator, a new quarterback, new plays, all kinds of people that need to sink in together. But a big game for the Falcons on Thursday. We want to thank you for tuning in with us. We know it's going to be a good week. We hope you find some games that you will enjoy. We've mentioned 5 of them here, and there'll be some others, of course, throughout the course of the season. So stick with us as we progress. For Logan Landers, our engineer, and for Vincent Turner, our host, I'm Harper LeBel saying thank you, everybody, for tuning in to another episode of 100 Yards of Football.